up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse, we will accept no documentary or movie made about State of the Game without stop motion animation. Okay? Without, or claymation. Claymation's acceptable. You know, we one of those two has to be involved in the story. The welcome to the extended State of the Game universe, which you have to think of a lot like the Friday universe. My co-host, who's with me every week, Kay Diggy, is the ice cube of the situation, right? Music is our Nia Long, right? And I am the John Witherspoon of the Voyage.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go Smokey, but all right, yeah.
No, I'm not smoking. I'm not that cool. So yeah, we're very lucky to be joined as we are so often by incredible people. And we have, and this is the key people, there's 5 members total. But this is a debut album that they just put out on Big Crown Records that is one of my very favorite things to come out in 2024. It's already on the second shelf of my most listened to things on Bandcamp, which is pretty wild. So we're with Jazmine, Alvarado, and Ricky on of the Heart Tones, the Heart Tones. And Kay, they did a smart thing. The smart thing got an extra E after the.
Yeah.
Yep. So when you're searching, you go right to them. It's that extra E.
Very sophisticated.
Yep. That's the technology that they're working with. Thank you for being.
Thank you for having us.
Well, this is great. So yeah, it was we've talked about this with people before. Putting together a debut album is a heck of a thing. Like, it's a heck of a thing to kind of be there for the first time, right? I've talked to artists who have basically said, don't do it. Don't put together a debut, because when you do, when you mess up, you're gonna just look at it and be like, oh, you know, for the rest of your life, like, work on it so long that it never happens, you know, which that can happen. So what was the process like of putting together this debut project? Was it easy? Was it hard? How long did it take?
So we started off, well, it lasted a whole week of recording that debut album. So we went all the way to Pasadena to go record with Leon Michaels and Tommy, which are 2 great people, and they helped us out a lot. But we went in with a couple of original songs and 2 covered songs, kind of already prepared, you know, and then Leon was just like, hey, why don't we just write new music? So I feel the songs on the debut album are new, but I would say the process of writing the new music was a little hard for us, because he kind of pushed us to go out of like our own comfort zone, you know, especially there. We worked with sound. It was a ballad song than we expected it to be. But on my perspective, I think, you know, it was a little hard, you know, to put ourselves out there. But I think that Leon and them did that for us to help us now, you know, like we're a little more in our comfort zone. We like to try new things with music. So yeah, I think it's amazing to see how they were thinking and everything. But yeah, they made the process easy for us. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Ricky, talk to me. Leon Michaels is that we were lucky enough to have Liam Bailey on the show earlier in the year, who put out Zero Grace on Big Crown. And he said loud and proud, Leon Michaels is the best producer in the world. And I'm beginning to come to that. Like, I'm beginning to be into it just as a concept, just because everything is so good and everything is so well done that he puts out. What is the magic? Talk to me about the magic.
Yeah, I mean, like Jazmine was saying, Leon is a musical genius. He's been in the game for such a long time. He knows his stuff, and I think he made the recording process really easy. Made us comfortable. He has a really good ear for music, especially the genre that we do, which is soul music. But it's not only just one particular style of soul music. He knows all genre. He was listening to songs during the recording process. We would listen to things, we would listen to a few tunes, and we'd get ideas, and he would like listen to it. It would be in his brain, and he would come into the studio, play on the grand piano, and then boom, the whole band would just join in, and we'd start jamming out, and there you go, a new song would just flourish out of nowhere. Jazmine would write the lyrics, and we had a new song. But yeah, Leon's a great guy. Definitely would love to work with him again. I can't wait to work with him again. We do a second album. Him and Tommy are great. Tommy's also been in the game for a long time. And them as producers, they really know how to make the recording process fun, but not at the same time not try to drag it. We're recording on tape, analog, so you kind of want to not mess up during these recording takes, and try to do it as best as you can. And that's kind of where the pressure came in a little bit, I think, on us. Certain songs were a little more difficult, keeping tempo, keeping the melody, not dragging, not rushing. So yeah, but I think he really just believed in us since the first day we got there. He listened to our voice memos, he listened to the demos, and we made it work. We made it happen. And Leon's a great guy. Tommy's a great guy. Simon's a great guy. Everybody was cool.
That's awesome. I got ahead of myself, Kay. I got to give you the band members and what they do officially on the recording. I'm gonna say each name correct, Kay. I'm gonna do this. Jazmine Alvarado, lead singer. Ricky Cerezo, keys and organ. Jorge Rodriguez, drums. Jeffrey Romero, bass. Peter Shigola, lead guitar. Walter Morales, rhythm guitar. Did I get that right?
Yeah. Perfect.
My tongue is terrible, so I feel good about this.
Okay, you guys mentioned that you recorded analog. Is that your first experience recording analog?
No, we recorded analog before. Actually, 2 years ago, we had a first 45 that we had dropped with an indie label, and we had recorded through tape as well during that process. So we were kind of familiar a little bit with the whole. You don't want to mess up because you don't want the tape's running. You don't want to keep wasting the tape. So we're familiar with that already. But this was our first time being in a professional studio, behind the glass kind of thing. Recording with such vintage instruments and recording analog, and the production was obviously a lot more. It was new to us, so the sound was amazing, and I mean we had a good time.
That's another interesting. I would love to get your opinion on this. This is another thing we've had discussions over with State of the Game, because there's a lot of people who record at home at this point, right? It's easy to do, but there are defenders of the studio who are basically like, being in the studio is different, and it focuses you in a different way, so that your output is different. Is that true? Is that a myth? How do you feel about that?
I agree 100%. In the studio, you would never get that same feeling, that same vibe in recording in your own room, digital through a computer. You have all these DAWs online that you can obviously choose from, and you can obviously record and make your mixes sound clean and everything. But when you go record at a studio, especially a professional studio with an engineer, you have your producer, you have everybody there, you have a live band, I think it comes out more natural, especially the music that we're doing. I think that's very important. The feel plays a big part.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that the recordings sound like the band is playing live together. You feel everybody brushing off against each other, the drums, the bass, the keys, the guitar, both guitars, and then Jazmine. you know, you don't want it to just be like, oh, Jazmine's singing here and then she's just singing over a recording. I think Jazmine's vocals mix in very well with us playing, that it sounds like we're playing live, and that's how we did it. And honestly, it's a really good experience that I think any musician would want to experience once in their life, to record in a studio with a band and, you know, try it out through tape. The sound, you can hear it, sounds more vintage. You can hear the instruments, the difference between the tone through computer and then through tape. Because before we recorded, going back to what I was saying about that, we recorded a 45 2 years ago when we first started out. We had recorded that 45 first digital, and the sound was completely different. Obviously, you can get away with mess-ups. You know, you can digify things, you can edit and mess with things later, but it's not the same as when you're recording through tape. And the whole experience is kind of like a throwback to the bands, you know, back in the day, how they used to record. Because a lot of them, you know, used to do it the way we're doing it now. So yeah, I mean, I'd agree 100% with what you said.
Yeah. Jazmine, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I feel the same way. I think even for one of our songs, I think it was Holding On. He actually put us in the same room together to put a little more feel into it, you know? And I feel like that's an experience that I will never forget, because as a band, we were all kind of feeling it, you know? Like, I feel like that was honestly our best take of Holding On, because it was just all of us together in one room recording what we created, you know, like years before that. So I agree with Ricky. I think it's way better. And just the experience at a studio, you'll never have that experience anywhere else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is this is a genre of music that means a lot to me. And I want to break that down. Like, I had a friend of mine who incredibly smart with all kinds of music, and was like, and I hit him with an artist I was listening to. He's like, oh, this is Lowrider Soul. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And he was like, oh, look up Bretton Wood. Like, look up, you know, he's giving me names. And the more I dug deeper into it, the more I was like, holy shit, this is a genre of music that loves doo-wop. Like, I love doo-wop. Like, I was raised on the oldies station, right? So listening to the Shangri-Las and all that. And so the more I dug into the Lowrider Soul, like the 70s, I was like, oh man, this is music that believes in precious moments, you know? And this album carries that so well. So I wanted to hear were there any albums or any songs that stuck as like North Star's inspirations for when you were making this music or crafting it?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot, you know. We listened to a lot of music, especially soul. Especially, I mean, I listened to a lot of records, old and new. So definitely there was a few artists that played a huge inspiration on the band and myself. You know, modern bands that, you know, obviously had a huge impact on us were Duran Jones and the Indications, the Sacred Souls, the Sinceres, you know, all the modern bands that are playing right now, the same kind of music and doing their thing, definitely inspired us. And, you know, going to the oldies, there was a lot of groups, you know, a lot of people like to label what we play Chicano soul. And, you know, there's a lot of great Chicano soul artists as well, like Sonny Osuna. There's the Royal Jesters, the Midnighters, and definitely we listen to a lot of that. And a lot of crooner type of music as well, crooner type singers. Speaking of that, Sonny Osuna is one of them, and his style and the way he plays definitely had an impact on me too. You know, there's a lot of Hammond in that kind of music, a lot of organ. So I listen to a lot of tracks with the organ, and sounds dope. But yeah, I'll let Jazmine take the rest.
Talk to me, Jazz. What are you hearing?
Well, At the beginning, like, of, joining the band, I actually wasn't really like, I didn't know much of, you know, I mean, I knew, like the popular oldies, but I didn't know all like that soul music, and not until I joined the band, Ricky and George introduced me to it. So honestly, I would say from all the artists they've shown me, I've been influenced by them all. Um, I think the lyrics that I write now have more of an influence than they did before because it's more like heartfelt, like it comes from either experiences you've gone through or what you've seen other people go through. And I feel like my lyrics now really come from, like my heart, like everything that I'm saying, I'm meaning in any way. So, um, yeah, a lot of the artists that they've shown me, which are many that I can't name, but yeah, like the Sacred Souls, their lyrics and the way they sing are very heartfelt. And I feel like that's impacted me a lot.
But before, who are some of your inspirations before you joined the band?
I was more like Adele, Summer Walker, R&B artist. Adele was my biggest inspiration. It is my biggest inspiration. But
Right.
then, Ricky showed me this whole other side and I was like, wow, like they don't fall in the same category, but they all sing from their heart.
Right.
They're,
Yeah, and I could see that you brought some of that inspiration into the band. You blended it together.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're all the whether it's Adele or Chuito and the Latin Uniques or whatever, like you're still gonna get the music is still crafted around the voice, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
it's in the way a movie's crafted around a star, it's that kind of thing where it's oriented like that. Ricky, you mentioned Duran Jones and the Indications, right? Um, in 2018, when that debut album came out, I sent that to everybody, and I was like, "This is how drums should sound on a record." I love how
Yeah,
the
the
drums
drums on
sound
that,
on it.
yeah, the drums on that record sound amazing. Aaron Fraser killed it. That definitely inspired George. The kick, the snare, everything. The way they recorded that album is just so good. I can't even tell you how many times we listened to that album during the writing process of early songs.
Yep.
And just in general, to this day, I think all three of their albums are amazing.
Right.
I hope to drop another album. But Aaron definitely gets down on the drums. He's hands down one of the best drummers out there right now.
Yeah. No,
So yeah, I agree.
they were the last show I went to before COVID. I went with my wife. They came to Maine, so we were very lucky to see them before things shut
Oh
down.
yeah.
Um, yeah, they were awesome. But yeah, there's a lot of great music out there, great music, um, things that and I don't know. When I first heard Sabor a Mi, I was transported. Like, so to tell you a story, um, the first time I heard any Latin music was because my friend in Korea, Jose from Houston, went to the salsa bar in North Korea. Like when we went to the bars, there was a salsa bar for soldiers, and the music was so loud and everybody was really drunk and like drunk and like arm around each other singing really loudly. And I at the time I was like, I hate this, I don't know what's going on, get me out of here. But like I remember those times, and when I got home I was fascinated and I dug into salsa music and the history of that stuff. And like when Sabor a Mi came on, I was like, oh shit, this would be playing in that salsa club and everybody would be swaying together, with drinks and arms around each other. And that's how it felt. This song goes back to 1959, right? What talk to me about the decision to put that on the record?
So the first like ever language that I started singing was Spanish.
Mhm.
I started singing Spanish since I was 5 and started taking kind of English seriously around like 11 or 12. So from 5 to like 11, I was just singing Spanish. Um, I grew up around it from my dad a lot, and Sabor a Mi was always that one playing, everybody at the like gatherings know it. And I had mentioned it to them in the like when we first started the band, like we should do a cover of this one. Like that has always been one of my favorite songs, and I feel like it's just a nice one to play. Everybody always seems happy when they hear that song, you know? Um, and not until I think a couple shows before we actually recorded that album, we started playing Sabor a Mi, and the feedback we got on it was great. My family loved it. You know, it allows us to go back to like our roots and where we kind of came from, you know?
Yep.
And so we hope to add photos to our hopefully next album, you know. But Sabor a Mi is one of our favorites on our debut album, for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, it makes sense. There's a lot of people doing music that emulates or grows out of music from the past, but they kind of don't want to be known that way. You know, I mean, because Sharon Jones had to fight it her whole career, right? Like, of just like, you guys are doing this 60 stuff. So a lot of people are like cheeky about it, you know? And Sabor a Mi is like a declaration, like, yeah, we love this. Like this, it's okay, you know. If this reminds you of this stuff, yeah, it should, you know. And that's cool. I love that. I think it's an important part of the album.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
I had a question. So going into the studio, like you guys knew that you were working on your debut album. Did you have any goals or intentions that you were setting you set for this debut album?
Any goals? I mean, I think my main goal was to get out of my comfort zone. I think that I felt back a lot before going into that studio. And I mean, Ricky and George would tell me, like, you know, like you can get out of your comfort zone, seeing different ways. And I think it was just nerve-wracking, you know, but like Ricky said, Leon, Tommy, Simon were all very, you know, welcoming to us, which allowed us to get out of our comfort zone. You know, it allowed us to try new things. And especially, you know, as a singer, there's many ways that you can sing. And Sabor a Mi was something getting out of my comfort zone. I stopped singing, you know, English, no, that Spanish song after a while. So bringing it back was very nerve-wracking for me. You know, you don't know what feedback you're gonna get from people when you kind of sing another language. But yeah, they definitely helped me out of my comfort zone. And I think walking out of that studio has made me more comfortable on stage now, you know, like comfortable in what we're doing with the band and everything.
That's such a great description, Kay, of like finding a comfortable place to be uncomfortable. You know?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just jump in anywhere and be uncomfortable, right? But if you've got really smart people who are really good at what they do that are all around you and they're like, we got you. Like at that point,
Yeah.
you can push yourself. Like you can be comfortable pushing.
Yeah, Leon will be like, it's okay. Like, if you can't sing that, you know, we'll try it tomorrow. You're gonna get it though. And I feel like that's what we needed to hear, you know, like, okay, like we don't have to get it today, but we're gonna get it, you know? And I think that was our goal for all of us, you know. There's the pressure that we kind of put on ourselves, like it's like at the end it's gonna be good, you know, like as long as we're putting in our effort and our 100%, there shouldn't be no worry about it. But yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's awesome. And it seems like Leon kind of knew he had the fuel to make this album and was just kind of like
Yeah.
sparking the fuel, you know, like he was just trying to spark you to go to where you wanted to go. Did you come in with the songs all written, or was there any vibing out and creating in the studio, or?
Forever and Ever was the one we actually created in the studio. I'm telling you, it was supposed to be a whole different like type of song. It was more of like a slow, you know, like that slow type of like bolero type of vibe. And I think the band started like playing around and they like put the beat up to that song, and Leon was like, I like that, like let's do that. And I think Forever and Ever came naturally to, all of us. We like instantly fell in love with it. The lyrics were like just flowing to me. I think I probably wrote that song in like 10 to 15 minutes. So that song was like, I feel like Leon already knew what that song was gonna be. And in his head, that was the song, that was gonna be the song that was gonna help us out. And right after we recorded it, he was like, that's the one. Like, that's the song that's gonna put you guys out there. And yeah, pretty cool.
That is so cool. That's such a cool story. Yeah, I was talking to my son about like the difference between like live music and loops, right? He's starting to get into hip hop. And I'm like, a loop
Yeah.
never changes. But
Yeah.
with a band with live music, it's always changing. So
Yeah.
and there's a conversation being had between the players, and you can feel that, and you can feel that comfort develop and the relationship mature and change, and like that's a real special experience, even as a listener, just to be able to
Yeah.
digest that. So, like, you guys really provided that on this. I thought that was dope.
Thank you.
Okay. Ricky, tell me about the Forever and Ever experience from your angle.
Yeah, like everything Jazmine said, we created it on the spot. I believe that's one of the songs that Leon actually had jumped on the keys too, because he was jumping on keyboard a lot to just play a melody in his head, because he would hear it off of another song and he would mess with the melody and try to come up with his own. So I think he started jamming, and then Peter, Jeff, and actually no, on that song it was Tommy. Tommy was on bass for Forever and Ever. So Tommy jumped in for a few times, and Tommy was in the studio, Leon, Peter, Walter, and then George. I think, like you said, the players were kind of bouncing off of each other's energy. So Leon starts playing, Walter starts playing, Peter starts playing, and Tommy, and then George, and then I hop on the organ. I was playing a Farfisa, I think, and we all started jamming out. And that's when Jazmine, I don't know if she was writing the lyrics during the jam out or before, but she already definitely had lyrics before. And that's where she said, it was supposed to be something slower, but it turned into more of an upbeat jam, like a head bopper. And the melody and the chord progression, it's simple, but it's so good. It sticks in your head. And I think we had a blast recording that song. Like when we were playing it, you just want to like jam out. Like the vibes they feel good, feel so natural. And I think that song only took us a few times to record. And we got that good take, and we were sold. We heard it after recording it, and we were like, holy shit, that's us. Like it sounded so good. And we knew that was gonna be a special one. Like we already knew Forever Never was gonna be a special song to the people and for us. And it was definitely gonna help put our name out there. So yeah, I had a good time recording it. The band did, and it was just so natural. Jazmine's lyrics, the chord progression, everything. And even Peter did a solo on the spot as well. That solo just came out of nowhere. He just started playing some notes, and boom. And Leon was like, holy shit, like we're keeping that. Let's do it. And then that's when we added the congas and all of that stuff. And yeah, it was dope.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, that's when was this during the process? Like, how early or late was this in the game of making the album?
I'm not sure. Jazmine, was it like 2 days in? I can't remember. I think it was Wednesday, right? Like probably midweek or second day. Because I definitely know it wasn't the first day.
Okay. So like we were talking about how early was the Forever and Ever experience into the recording process? Was
Yeah, I was
that
telling Jeff, I can't
early
really
on or
remember.
late? Yeah.
I think it was midweek. I'm not sure if Jasmine remembers.
What happened? I'm sorry. I was ready.
Oh, we're at what stage in the process was the Forever and Ever recording session? Was it early or was it late or what phase was it?
It was late, right, Ricky?
Oh, I want to say it was midweek. I don't think it was late because I know the first day we kind of we knocked out the songs that we had written already, just tweaked them a bit. But the first day was definitely just knocking out the original songs that we had written years before. But I think Forever and Ever came around mid like mid process, mid recording process. Um it's when we kind of were like, okay, let's try writing a new song on the spot because we were kind of short on music.
Yeah.
So I think definitely mid process. I wouldn't say not too early and not too late.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And what did that feel like? You know, creating a song like that quickly, because you said the early songs you had been working on sounded like for a couple of years, and so the songs in the mid session it sounded like you just created on the spot a little bit.
Yeah. A lot early in the recording process, we kind of wanted to knock out those songs that we had came in already with demos and all that. Those demos sounded some of them sounded completely different from the finished product, but definitely later into the week we started kind of writing new music. So I think it was 3 new tunes we wrote. Forever Never was one, Need Something More, and what was the last one? No, we wrote another one. I think they do, but that's a song that didn't make it to the album.
Oh yeah, Olney.
Maybe we could drop down as a 45 later on. I don't know. But yeah, those songs we kind of started writing a little mid to late process of recording. I think the first 2 days we kind of knocked out all the songs that we had written already. And then the covers as well kind of came late too. Sabor a Mi, Somebody Please. We kind of started playing them in the studio and Leon was like, hell yeah, let's record it.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, being able to identify a good idea is a big deal. Yeah, so that's great. Yeah, so I've told you, I might have told you this, Kay. I lose track of what I've told you, not told you. But like I think most of the time critics are really bad at reviewing soul music. And I think it's because they don't really have a criteria for it, you know? Criteria is evaluation. Most of the time, they're just kind of like, I feel it or I don't feel it or whatever, you know? But they don't really know how to look at it. And in my breakdown, I kind of tried to explain my process is like there's command and there's composition, right? There's how interesting this music is. Is it evolving? Is it static? Right? And there's the voice commanding this experience and bringing it home. And so this album, like I don't think I could give you one favorite song because I have multiples in each category. You know, like I think for me, my favorite composition is Need Something More. Need Something More is really intensely interesting.
It's very different. And I mean, even for us now, when we first listened to the demo that Leon had finished, he sent it to us and we were like, wow, like that's something we would have never written, you know, if we wouldn't have met Leon. Till this day, it's still like different for me, you know, like I listen to it and I'm like, okay, like I feel it, but it's so out of our comfort zone that we're like, you know, we're a little iffy. But when we hear feedback from Need Something More, you know, everybody loves it. And I mean, it's something different from everything that we've done, but I feel like that's why it stands out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There, to me, there's, I don't know if I would call it a reggae flavor or something. Like there's definitely a sway to it that it's different, that moves differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can hear a lot of inspirations with that song. I agree with you on that. The reggae kind of feel you get from hearing it. The way the drums are playing, the guitar, it's just so jumpy. It's so upbeat. And it's kind of, I would say it's a head bopper too. You know, you listen to it and you're kind of like already like, okay, like it's so quick. You kind of want to move your body. And we've played a few shows where people are into it. You know, they're like, they start dancing and we're like, holy shit, like It's dope. Especially the drums. You know, we have no song that with the drums playing like that, you know. And we also added like a clap. I don't know if you guys hear in the recording, there's a clapping sound with a snare, like, you know, it's like a little clap every time the snare hits. And yeah, so that song was really different for us. Like Jazmine said, we would have never recorded or thought of writing a song like that if we had never met Leon or Tommy. But we're glad we did. And you know, when we start writing new music, definitely we want to kind of start adding some of that flavor, because Need Something's more Need Something More's response has been really good, and a lot of people seem to dig it.
Yeah, that it's really well placed in the album to kind of hit you from a different area. Once you feel like you got the album, and then it's in a different direction. So
yeah, you have a lot of slow jams, and then you hear that one, and it's just like, holy shit, you know, they just changed the whole game. They changed the whole atmosphere of the album. And then you kind of go back to those slow jams in a bit, though.
yeah,
So it's dope.
it's good. That's, to me, that's, like I said, the compositional high point. In terms of writing and my favorite written song, I think it's Should I Call You Tonight.
Yeah.
You just you just don't hear a lot of songs about, like, should I call you? I'm
And that's so
about it,
funny,
but I'm not
like,
sure.
that's a song that, like, we don't listen to. Like, it'll come on the album and we're like, no, like, we skip it to the other song.
Love it so much.
Yeah. Should I Call You? Such an interesting one. Like, we have a love-hate relationship with that song.
Yeah.
We felt personally it was the weakest in the album when we were writing. We had that song written actually years ago
The
too.
thing is that, it was the way we, George was playing on the drums and the way I was singing, it was very different. I was singing a little more powerful in the takes we had before, and then Leon was like, you know what, just like whisper, like keep it low.
Like talking into the mic. And but what I would say, the atmosphere in that song is completely different from all the rest of the album. It's so eerie, it's so quiet, and you have that little echo. You have George's, I think, is playing with mallets, and it has such an atmosphere to it that I think the rest of the songs don't have. So I do like it for that. And like Jazmine said, she's kind of just talking into the mic. She's just talking. She's not really singing, which is cool. And the song has such a even almost scary vibe. And I think that's what I think a lot of people dig, especially the lowrider community. They seem to dig it a lot as well. It's such a slow jam.
That's why it's good to have, outside people or third parties sometimes in the studio, because they can give you that perspective of your band and of your music that's a little bit different from the band members who are in the band.
Yeah.
Definitely. And when we had that song written, it was completely different too. Like the previous version. The drums were such, like, it was faster.
It was just like a very powerful song. Like, that song was just so, like, like you would say, like, harsh,
Right.
And now when you listen to the one that we just released on the album, it's very, like, calm, like, relaxed.
That doesn't mean the lyrics could be kind of harsh, It's
yeah.
Not a happy song.
I think what happens at the end is, like, where this ends up is it ends up kind of sounding like the other side of the conversation to Marvin's Room, like the Drake song from Take Care. Like, you remember Marvin's Room when he's like, come on, I'm in town, leave your man, da 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 da, and all that, and leave your this is the other side of, like, should I call this person? Is this even a good and, like, but it's in the same kind of, I don't know, creepy, almost Portishead way, port delivered,
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm like trying to even remember where that lyric even came from. Like, I don't remember the process. I don't know if Ricky remembers, but I don't remember.
I know I wrote the melody on guitar. I was just jamming it out, and then I think it started with me playing, and you just started hearing it, and you were like, you started singing in that way, and it was dope though. It was like, it was cool. You're kind of like dragging your vocals as well.
Yeah.
You're dragging all your words, which is cool. But I don't know where you got the lyrics from.
Yeah, I don't know where Should I Call You came from, but
more that idea.
I love that song. My vote for the best vocal performance is going to be Holding On. And
Yeah.
this is one of the best sung albums in 2024 for me. I think Jazmine does an incredible job all the way through. Holding On is just the best example of like a vocal that goes from like a tender conversational vocal
Mhm.
to just dominant, like
Mhm.
Whitney in a great dress vocal. And it's like, how did this happen? I thought we were having a tender conversation. It's like it's a sneaky climb.
Yeah.
It's so good. You get so many diff variations of tone, I think.
Yeah. Holding On is one of our favorites,
Mm.
definitely. And Leon and them enjoyed that one as well. He didn't I thought about adding some, like backup vocals to, he was like, no, you know what, just leave it plain and simple. There's little like music that he added in the back. I'm not sure what he's playing, but as a vocals, he was like, just keep it plain, like let the message be the message,
Mm.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think you do have a slight under harmonies when you're singing Holding On, though. I think
Yeah.
you added. Yeah, but that definitely.
Oh yeah, just like the lower,
Yeah.
voice of me singing, but yeah, that song is one of our favorites.
But yeah, and then also, all the instruments that he added, the wind instrument, the violin,
Oh,
it makes that song so like it makes it emotional.
Mhm.
And it
Yeah.
changes the whole atmosphere of the song. And then also the percussion, the Glock. It sounds so good. When we heard it the first time, we were kind of blown away from
Yeah.
like from when we first recorded it to hearing the whole finished version. We kind of got goosebumps. We were like, yeah, this is
Like
amazing.
that song was already, special to us. But I think, once we recorded it in the studio and he showed us everything, it became like 100 times more special,
One of my favorites on the album.
yeah. And it's one of the songs to give Jorge proper credit on the drumming on this album. Like, it's one of those songs, there's a few of them that start with a kind of rolling hi-hat
Yeah.
that splashes into like a really cool performance, and then the song starts. And it's just really cool. Throughout the album, Jorge's drums really do like splash, stretch out, roll, and then tighten up. And it's a great performance all through the album.
Thank you.
Yep. So I loved it. Kay, any standout tracks for you while you were hearing this?
I mean, Need Something More.
Mm.
Obviously that's. I mean, I thought the whole middle from Sabor a Me to When I Met You. I loved all those. Should I Call You Tonight? Cry My Tears Away. Need Something More. When I Met You.
Man, yeah, it's When I Met You was crazy. The one My Wife Sings No Longer Mine in the car.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, No Longer is badass. The way it throws you right in there, the horns, the drums, the bass. It's so punchy and
It's just like it's harsh, like that one
hard. Comes
it's
in
harsh,
hard.
but you feel it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has like Daptones energy, like big
Oh yeah, definitely.
Daptones energy.
I
With
think somebody say even a Wu-Tang
Ooh.
influence in there, and I can hear that too as well with the drums and the bass. Yeah, that one's dope. I can hear a rapper sampling that.
Yeah.
We want a rapper sampling, like rapping over that.
I got some perspective, got some ideas. And I have definitely sent this album to some producers as to what I'm listening to. So hip hop producers. So hopefully that will happen.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a great run, Kay. I would say run wise, it's eloquent, but yeah, from Somebody Please all the way through that When I Met You, that's great. That's the heart of the thing. Yeah, it's good stuff. What so what are the band's favorite songs? Which songs do you gravitate towards the most on this album?
Mine would for sure be Holding On. I think whenever that one comes up, like even now, it just sticks out to me, and I feel like it's because when we perform it, the audience, it like touches them, and it's always like whether they're there with a significant other, their family, everybody's feeling it, like it kind of just captivates you and you gravitate towards it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Honestly, for me, I have to say probably Cry My Tears Away. I love the way it's recorded. I love the background vocals. With shout out to Kevin on Brain Story,
Yes.
for doing that. He sounds badass. I love the horns. I love the chord progression. I love the wall and the guitar. Like that's my kind of style. I love that song. The way it's recorded, the way Jazmine's singing, the horns, how they just come in out of nowhere, and the whole bridge section is badass. I think that one has that lowrider vibe to it, which I dig a lot.
Yeah, that is definitely in that mix. Like
Mm.
because I get Cry My Tears Away is an extreme situation, right? You like it emotionally, that's an extreme setting, but you match that extreme with the way that vocals delivered, right? The way you hold that is real, and you can feel that. So that's and then it does have all that beautiful backing, all that doo-wop flavor, and to me, that's a great pick. Yeah, that's awesome. So have you heard anything? How has the reception been for this album?
It's been great. We had a lot of people reach out to us already, showing their support. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, everybody seems to be digging it. The numbers look great. We loving the comments that we're getting, even from our own friends and family. They're supporting us. They're loving the album. The whole community of the 45 community, the record collectors, they love it. They dig it. They're enjoying it, especially out here in LA, California. It's big out here. And, when we play shows over here, they show their love.
Yeah, I think we saw it mainly in our release shows,
Yeah, definitely. From everybody, though, not only like one group of people, everybody. We had
everybody.
people, you had 20-year-olds, you had 30-year-olds, you had the OGs, you had everybody jamming out to the songs. So that's kind of what our goal was with this album too, for it to resonate with everyone.
Yeah.
And it is. We love it, especially young people. We want young people to get into soul and music in general, and playing instruments themselves, and trying to do what we're doing. It's never.
And just know that what you're doing is a viable path, right? Like you don't have to do the 3 or 4 things that are in the mainstream.
Yeah.
You can do other things and incorporate those things into other things. Yeah. So so that, and to give you a shout out, on October 3rd, you're going to be playing a show as the opener for my favorite rock band in the world, Shannon and the Clams.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
I am that. I was like, what? Did they know Shannon and the Clams? I love Shannon and the Clams. Just so it's been a long, beautiful journey watching that track. How did that come together?
Yeah, so our booking agent actually, shout out Joey, he got us, he called me up and he was like, hey, I got an offer. And I was like, okay, what is it? And he told me, we got Wiltern here in LA. And I was like, okay, you already have my attention. The Wiltern's a big venue and it's a badass venue and it looks really nice. And he told us that we were opening for Shannon and the Clams, which I was familiar with her. I never really listened to her music though until recently. I kind of been trying to listen to it to see their kind of style. We played with the band that is kind of familiar with them. Similar to them, called the McCharmleys. I know they kind of play rock as well. And it kind of gave me that vibe. And I know Shannon does follow us on social media, if I'm not mistaken, and she seems like a great woman, and we can't wait to play with her. I know they're gonna put on a good show.
Yeah.
The thing about Shannon and the Clams, and this is something that, like, it's open for you for the heart tones as well. They started doing a thing, right? Like, we're gonna do aggressive surf rock meets punk, right?
Mhm.
And then they just started
Yeah.
incorporating more things. We also love country. We're gonna mix a little bit of that in there. We also love soul. We're gonna incorporate a little bit of that. And they just started stretching what they do, more usage of her voice, more band members singing and writing. Um, and now they're so much more than they used to be, you know?
Mhm.
And with rock bands, a lot of times you don't get that. Like, sometimes you get, you know, three great records and then a fade out, you know? So to remain relevant for as long as they've remained relevant is pretty phenomenal. Um, and so that's, yeah, chase what you're interested in, incorporate it. Don't be scared to do that. I think that's why I was thinking of them when I that tied in.
Mhm.
So yeah. So do you those songs that are on this album, Forever and Ever, a lot of them are years old. So
Yeah.
what is your process for moving towards the next one? Just in terms of, like, how, like, because you've heard the old expression, right? You have your whole life to write your debut, and then you've got, a few months to do your next one. Like, do you have a
Yeah.
process in place for how you're going to start
Um,
writing and flushing this stuff out?
we kind of come up with our like ideas on our own. I feel like lately we've been a little busy with shows, so when we get together, we're mainly practicing for those shows. But along the way, we have like what, Ricky, 3 unfinished songs. We're like halfway done with them. But yeah, it mainly comes from everybody like on their own. Ricky will shoot me a text like, "Hey, I have this guitar, I recorded it, write some lyrics for it." Or George will come up with something on the drums. He'll be like, "If we do this intro, Ricky, you could play this." Everybody kind of puts in their own part, to the song. But yeah, it mainly is we all write at George's garage, or kind of wherever. We've been trying to aim for like studios to get more into it, not get distracted. But yeah, everybody just puts in their part, to write the songs, and it all comes together.
Yeah, I mean, that got me. I was thinking when I was listening, was the directional balance of a band is a tricky thing. There's a great Fishbone documentary about them, what that basically lays out, like, they were such a democratic band that they destroyed themselves with it because they didn't have a central directing force. Uh,
Yeah.
how do you work out the the metrics of who does what, and giving each other the space to be like, all right, you're directing this one, apparently I'll do my part.
Um, Honestly, I think we're pretty like open to kind of anything. This new song that we're actually writing, everybody switch instruments, We're not really like, you know what, you play drums, you stay on drums, like. And I think us allowing, them allowing for each other to switch around the band opens ideas. Um, Usually I will get kind of like the last, like, all right, that's good, because I have to write the lyrics and everything. But everyone's pretty like free and to do what they kind of want to do. And I feel like when we do that, it flows very easily. Like there's nobody saying like, oh, we could do this. But I think that's how it's really been. Everybody, Ricky will start playing the guitar, I start singing, Peter starts jumping in doing solos, and George starts playing fills. Um, but yeah, everybody's kind of like free. You want to hop on bass and write something, go ahead. But I think it makes the writing process really good for us.
Ricky, how would you describe the process?
The exact same way as Jasmine. We kind of don't have I would say, like, a plan when it comes to writing. I do my best in writing with guitar. which is not my instrument, but I find it easiest and the most comforting to write music on. Um, and I enjoy playing guitar, and I listen to a lot of music, and I hear, you know, certain chord progressions and melodies, and I like to try to make my own. And I usually send voice memos to Jazmine, and Jazmine usually sends me voice memos back of her singing, sometimes singing over the melody. And that's kind of when we show the band and everybody kind of puts their part in. And like she said, this new song, we all switched, which was the first time we ever did that. I'm on guitar, Walter's on the keys, George is on the bass, and our guitar player Peter's actually on drums, which he's never played drums prior. And he shocked us when we were playing, and we were like, "Oh shit!" Like we were all jamming out, like
Yeah.
me and George and Walter, and it felt so natural. And this new song sounds badass. I mean, I can't wait to finish this song up and record it. But yeah, I think whatever somebody's comfortable with, like whoever wants to play on this instrument, they can do it. Add your own flavor to it, add your own sauce, add whatever you want to add, and it comes natural. I think the writing process is so good when we're all together. I think that's when it works best. We get things done quick when we're all thinking together and playing. Sometimes we even write a song while we're just playing the song, even if it's not done. We think of a bridge section, we think of an ending, we think how we're gonna end it. And so I think, like Jazmine said, we have like 3 or 4 new songs in the works. Like we have a bunch of ideas, we just need to get together and actually finish them. Like she said, we have a show, so whenever we have the time to actually start writing, we're definitely going to take advantage, because when the next album comes, you for sure want to be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and as long as you've got the power of Jazmine's voice, and you've got this kind of easy communication between very highly skilled players, and when you have that, you have a good recipe, right? Like, yeah. So I think that's awesome. Okay, what else you got here?
No, I mean, I don't have anything else.
We go to recommendation corner, where we recommend stuff that we're listening to. I will kick off. So excited last week. Friday came around because I found out that Niloufer Yanya has a new album. My Method Actor, Niloufer Yanya. It's I think a third, fourth album. UK singer, just great stuff. Yeah, really cool. And just lyrically ill. Great album that deals with a lot of subject matter. Big fan of the album. Is instantly, I've listened to a lot. It's great. So find that. It's everywhere, streaming, Bandcamp, wherever you want. Yeah, listen to all the Niloufer Yanya. I first heard about her because I joined Open Mike Eagle's Patreon, and there was a person there who said, "Hello, welcome to the Patreon. Listen to Niloufer Yanya's album, Painless." And that's what he said to every new person. And I was like, wow, I got to hear this album and see if this is worthwhile for you going on this life journey. And it was good. I don't know if it was worth that. It was very good. So I've become a fan. Shout out to the Open Mike Eagle Discord. The other one I would recommend is Blues and Soul, by Little Milton from 1974. It's really cool because those legendary singers, blues singers, who kind of kicked off rock and roll, inspired the Rolling Stones and everything in the 70s, after they become popular, because of the rise of rock and roll based on their music, they now have access to the same kind of recording budgets and equipment, and so they can actually put out cleaner music albums, and it was just really interesting to hear, and it's really dope. So check that out. What's the other one? Oh, Brain Story sounds good. Big Crown Records, check it out. It's got some bangers on it. I love that. It's a really good album. Follow Big Crown Records. They continually put out great stuff. So those are my 3. Those are my three. I'm done. Ricky, what are you listening to?
I would say album wise right now, one I'm digging is the Marlowe's debut album. Yeah, that one's sick. I've been listening to that a lot. I think the instruments and her vocals sound, fire. And it's Indonesia, if I believe, and that's crazy how soul music has gotten so worldwide that it's even over there. And to
Is
hear
it
them,
more of a funk album? It felt more of a funk thing. Like,
I think there was a lot of inspiration. I think the drums definitely make it sound a bit funky, but
Yeah.
I would say it's still labeled soul. They have a bunch of good stuff in there. They have some ballads in there. They got some more upbeat stuff. It's sick. I love the guitar, especially. The guitar is amazing on that album. And yeah, I mean, I would love to play a show with those guys. Those guys are beasts, and I believe they're coming to the US soon. So good for them,
yeah, I gotta go back to that one. That was great.
Yeah. And then other than that, I listen to a bunch of everything. I mean, singles maybe that I'm listening to, like tracks, would probably be, I don't know if you've ever heard of a band called the Royal Chessmen, Begging You. That's a single. It's on a 45 they had dropped. I'm not sure what year, but it's an amazing song. And then also another album that's really good is Aaron Fraser's new album. That one's really good. I dig a lot of the stuff he did on there, and Aaron's killing it. I think he's on right now.
Yep. The Marlowe's album's called P-Rack for anybody looking for it. Perak. Aaron Fraser's AARONFRAZER. Into the Blue is the new album. Great album. Great album. Jazmine, what are you bumping?
Not many albums, but the one like recent album would be Aaron Fraser. I mean, he's just good. The lyrics are good. I love how he experiments with his songs, and yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
Got a wild falsetto.
Yeah.
That would be a great feature for the next album. Just throw Fraser in the mix, see how the voices communicate. That'd be fun. Kay, what are you bumping? What are you listening to?
Nothing new this week, but you guys gave me, I wrote them down on my iPad. You guys gave me a lot to check out.
Write him down. No,
Yeah.
my son is becoming a Snoop Doggologist. He had me make a Snoop Dogg playlist, so he's really become fascinated by it, and he's become the Snoop Dogg resource for the kids in his school and stuff, middle school. So it's cool. It's been fun to have him, go through this journey historically and try and play him different things from different eras. See how it goes. But yeah, I thank you all for being here. This was amazing. I appreciate the time that you've given us and the music. And I will keep telling everybody how great it is.
Thank you for having us.
No problem.
What will tomorrow